One of the best things to check out on YouTube is our mate Ami Horowitz's YouTube channel. He's a bloke who is fearless, funny, and of course, right across the facts. And he joins us now from the magnificent United States and the kind of free New York, which is now Cuomo-less-ish in a couple of weeks' time. Great man, nice to see you, mate. Are you ready for the Cuomo era to end? It'll be a sad day in, 12 days' time when the Cuomo-sexuals will be without a leader.
It's we all go through tough phases in our lives. This will be one of them for us. I tell you.
Oh, look, I'm happy he's hit by the karma bus. Of course, it was a whole political setup that did him in. He'll be replaced by leftier people. But the truth is his behaviour in and around those nursing homes, the cover-up of the data around all of it, all the reason for him to go, and more than happy with that. Now, I want to talk to you about what's been building for a long time, which has been these Democrat politicians who disrespect police, who give in to the mob, who defund the police. And the story that happened this week about how Lori Lightfoot, who is the hopeless mayor of Chicago, who, she all cared a little too late because one of her own officers was shot and killed. Another one was shot in the head and, as I understand, is still in hospital. But she tried to turn up. The family didn't want her there and the police didn't want her there either.
Yes.
There was a lot of emotion running that night. There were hundreds of officers who were there. I met and talked to many of them. And there was a lot of emotion from a range of the spectrum, from total despair to anger and rage and kind of everything in between. And that's to be expected. This is a really hard loss. A really hard loss for her unit and her team. Sorry,
Ami, your turn.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Lori Lightfoot is just a lost cause in general. I mean, going back from when she said, hey, I'm only going to interview I can only be interviewed by people of color, to even though we're in the middle of a lockdown and nobody can get their hair done, I got to get my hair done because I got to look good. I'm on TV. But those are funny, but this is really a lot more serious. And she's just a symptom of a larger problem. It's not just Lori Lightfoot, it's all of these crazy leftist mayors around the country. And what you find is that these are people all supported Black Lives Matter. That's where it all comes from. They back the blood libel that police officers are killing, the lie, the canard, that police officers are killing in mass unarmed Black people across the country. So what does that lead to? That leads to people being very upset at the police. And when you allow people to curse the police without consequences, was what you saw during the riot, the protests, that leads them to say, we'll take the next step, which we'll put our hands on police, which we saw during the riot and the protest. And there are no consequences to that. Then they go, well, we can actually hurt the police. We can shoot the police. When I did my video on Black Lives Matter, I asked the activists and the leadership about that. And many of them on video supported shooting the police. Okay, I had one of the major founders, she wouldn't answer the question when I asked her, can you shoot police officers? None of this is lost on the police officers. They see how the mayors across the country have behaved, how they've been demonized by them, and they are unhappy, to put it mildly. I speak to police officers around the country, certainly in New York City where I live all the time, and they are sick and tired of it. They say, why would I continue to do this with very little pay, put my life at risk, at the same time be demonized by the people I work with? This is not just New York or Chicago, it's Portland, it's LA, it's Minneapolis, it's DC, it's Baltimore. I can keep going on and on, Detroit, all of these cities. So this is not shocking, it's horrifying. And by the way, these mayors who purport to support minorities and poor people, when the police don't respond, when the police start to retire early, who do you think this disproportionately falls upon? It falls upon minority, poor communities. Rich communities, these cities, they can leave. They're usually fine. It's the poor minority communities where this disproportionately affects them. So the whole thing is ironic. The whole thing is terrible. It's awful. We're heading down a very dark path.
Well, and also we heard however many people scream, know their name, hear their name. Well, Ella French is the name of this police officer, and it's all well and good for the mayor to stand up and to do the po-face business, but she's been more than happy to see the role of the police officer as a venerated member of society slip on her watch.
Yeah, it's important to note, by the way, that more police officers are killed every year than unarmed Black people are killed by police every year. I want to make that very, very clear. So this is a problem which is only getting worse. Every single week we see this getting worse. And it's not just police officers, it's people in general who are being killed. And this is a direct consequence of us not supporting our police officers. We all saw this coming. Paul, we're not prognosticators, we're not geniuses, we're not Nostradamus. We saw this coming. We saw this happening in real time. Yet these mayors across the city either didn't or they refused to realize it because it serves a larger political agenda.
Yeah, well, Ami, whoever was just coming down the stairs just then, tell them to come down. It's okay. We'll put some file footage up, all right?
It's my daughter. Come on, Dina, you can come down.
She's like, oh, Dad's going off again on TV. Well, there we go. Now, but Ami, again, just finally in all of this, also, what does it say that we didn't hear from Harris or Biden? This was a very obvious criminal act. All right. And they didn't choose to elevate this moment of violence to being something to show a support for police. Whereas if there had been somebody who, God forbid, had died at the hands of overzealous police, they would have held a press conference.
Oh, come on. Are you kidding? They support this agenda. I mean, Kamala Harris, let's not forget that she was trying to raise money to bail out rioters in Portland. Okay, this is who we elected, right? We weren't hiding the ball. This wasn't a secret. We knew all this going in. No, this is an agenda they support. Well, we know that Kamala Harris supported. We don't know what Biden supports. I mean, he's barely with us these days. So this is not surprising or shocking. This is par for the course. This is what we have expected that they would do, and this is what we're seeing. Yeah,
man, it is heartbreaking. It truly is, and just the fact that in 10 years we've gone from what the muscle reaction of normal people is to this reaction from government is a perfect example about how one of the great countries of the world, the elites are making it slide and slide every day. Ami, good to talk to you, mate. All the best to your daughter.
Thank you.